Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's been kind of a long time coming, but I finally have some time. Today I'm super excited to finally get into Capcom Fighting Collection 2. We've been waiting for such a long time. It got announced back in that Nintendo Direct, and it contains 8 classic Capcom titles, and it's finally here. So I did buy both the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch edition. So on the back of the box, it does show that it includes that 8 classic Capcom titles. So I'm super excited to dive into these games. It hasn't been released for such a long time, talking about 15 years. Get into the quick unboxing and kind of look through what we get inside. So as you can see right here, this is the Capcom versus SNK comic that comes with the, I guess you could kind of say, launch edition. I know it's kind of a limited supply. They did the same thing for the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, so I'm not sure how limited it is, but it is still pretty cool. Over here we can kind of check out a bit of the artwork and see what's inside, and I think it's honestly just kind of awesome. Like, if they kind of do a full release of it, I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans and we just enjoy it so much. Like seeing that Kyo versus Ryu right there on that part, and this part has me dying where Dan and Joe just celebrating right there. Now let's go ahead and get into the Switch unboxing and just kind of see if there's any difference, or if the comic book might be a different size since the Switch case is a lot smaller. For that code, it's already redeemed, so it's not going to be a big issue on the camera on that part. But unfortunately, the comic book for the Capcom vs. SNK, it's the same size as the PS4 edition, so it's unfortunate on that part, but it's understandable why Capcom would do something like that, to kind of go ahead and maybe cut down costs, or just kind of printing out the same comic book to stick into both the PS4 and the Switch edition. Now let's go ahead and get into some of the gameplay for the game and kind of try it out. So for the video, I did sped up the footage just to kind of make sure the video doesn't take too long or go on for too long. I'm trying to keep it down to about like 15 minutes to 60 minutes. It was a lot longer than that. So on the options, you could kind of change the different jingle, either the remix or the original. And you can kind of change the configuration to the way how you want it, arcade style. They also have different challenges, so if you do want to try to unlock them, they have the same thing for the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. So that's kind of cool that they added that to kind of give some more of that longevity for the game. And the biggest feature for me is probably like some of the galleries that you could kind of look at. So it's just cool to see that we get these nostalgia and seeing like Homaru versus Ryu right there on that image. And also that we get the music too, so you could listen to the full soundtrack and not really, you could have it in the background while you're working, or playing some other video games or something like that. So I think that's really cool. You could just kind of mess around and see the soundtrack within the game. I think that's really something that sticks out, especially for $40. Capcom put a lot of effort into this game. So the cool thing with these collections is that you can also change the game version. So you can kind of see like Capcom Fighting Jam, or Capcom Fighting Evolution, sorry, in America was actually known as Capcom Fighting Jam in Japan. So you could kind of really customize the games and select the different versions that you want to play. So for Capcom vs. SNK, we could actually select the EO version, which is the one that was made, or it came out for the GameCube, I believe. So they added a ton of stuff in this game. So over here we have the different options for the displays. You could change the resolution, you could change the borders on the side if you wanted more of the black borders to kind of less distraction, I guess. You can kind of customize your display if you want more of the CRT filters, if you want the 4:3s or more of a widescreen. So they give you that option if you do tend to have it more of that full display onto your 16:9 TVs or your high definition TV, since these games came out when it was on those tube 4x3s. So it's really cool that Capcom gives us those options to us to mess around with and see which we would prefer to play. Alright guys, let's get into it. Let's see some gameplay, some fights going on. I know for the Cap and SNK, I mostly use the C or the P groove. Over here I'm gonna just choose P, try to parry a little bit, probably not, knowing my timing. It's a lot of characters over here on the screen, so that's pretty cool to use that option to choose. I was thinking about just playing as a whole full Shoto squad. Ryu, Ken, Akuma. Over here I went ahead and chose Shin Akuma. I didn't even know that the character was on the screen, so I know on the options you could change it to allow the secret characters to be on the screen already. Alright, we're just gonna beat up Eagle right here. Gonna make him eat his sticks. Ow. And the cool thing with the game is that you could put the moves, the special moves, it's like one button. So sometimes I'm just pressing the L2 on the PS5 controller or the DualSense. From what I noticed is that the DualSense is not as comfortable for playing fighting games, I'll be honest, for me personally. But I'm still doing alright. You know, get that win right there. But most likely I'm probably gonna die later on.
This is gonna be a match to remember.
Hit those rolls. Haven't used the special yet though. Got him at rock is pretty cool. This rolls and grab. Is that a command throw? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm dead on that one. You got me on that one. Oh, over here it was just sad. Complete sad. I'm thinking I'm just gonna whoop Rock ass since he's low in health. But my goodness, Shin Akuma gets hit hard. I died so fast. Just gonna go ahead and skip to the next fight real quick. So that didn't go well with Shin Akuma. Yeah, the guy from Samurai Showdown. I always love playing, just slashing people with that. And over here, I just kind of have all my losses. I mean, that's crazy right there. Like, how did I miss a sword slash? And he got me with a foot sweep. Yamazaki is cool, but I wouldn't want to lose to him, which I did now, because that's messed up right there. That's rude. And a lot of those characters, they have like these special interactions between each other. So Terry and Yamazaki. There's also like Terry and Ken. Hit him with that special. And of course, look at the way he dies. I mean, how did we not love that? That's hilarious. Alright, so we're just gonna go ahead and switch it up a little bit. I want to try out Project Justice because I remember playing it back in the Dreamcast, and on the Japanese version it had this kind of like Monopoly Mario Party kind of style where you could kind of like build up your character. I doubt it have it over here, but I just wanted to check it out. And it's been a long time since Rival Schools or pretty much Project Justice came out. You know, we're talking about back in the Dreamcast era, so that was back in the 2000s. And it's such a series that needs to return. It's cool that Akira, the character that's in Rival Schools, is in Street Fighter. I believe that's 5, not in 6 though. So she's in Street Fighter 5. And Batsu is in the main character, or one of the main characters in Project Justice. He's in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. This guy right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward a little bit of kind of like the display options, so you can kind of adjust the resolution. Pretty much the same thing like what we did with the Capcom vs. SNK 2. But for this game, it's actually like it's in 3D, so it actually looks pretty good still too. Like it's more sharper. The classic character select, so you get to choose like the different schools, or you could kind of like pick the other, like your own kind of team. But this is the story mode right now, and we don't really see like story modes often anymore in like fighting games. This is already pretty cool. I was like, what is going on? And I guess like you could kind of like cancel out the team technique. What an asshole. Pulled a Tekken on me. Oh, hit me with an air combo. The good thing with this game, you can also do like one button specials, and also kind of these cool like air combos, which gets crazy, honestly. You get to kind of choose your character who you want to select next. So when you use a team up technique, it use up 2 bars or 5 bars. It all depends. And that's Akira. She's in Street Fighter 5, actually. Hit that air combo. 4 hits. Just missed that one. You know, in the fighting game, you always have to grab. Missed me. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, probably have to wait a little bit. This game is pretty fun, honestly. And like a lot of the characters are pretty like unique. You got Eureka over here using a violin to attack. Yo, this was crazy. She takes her own teammate and like smacks me with her. That's insane. Still looks pretty good, honestly, for a 3D fighting game back in 2000. When, like, Momo with a tennis racket. The characters are like a trip in this game, which you don't see that in a lot of fighting games. Here goes the 5-slipper right here. Look at that damage. The cool thing is that all the schools have their own. What the hell is that? My goodness. Damn. Just smacking the crap out of me with that tennis racket. Kiyosuke is in Capcom vs. SNK 2 as well, so that's kind of cool. What in the... Get that command throw. Yeah, so cool. Get that. I'm about to shoot you all day. What the hell hit me? My goodness, that's hella damage. Oh, you know it again. Maybe I should do like a video of like all the team supers, the level 5s. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is out now for $40. And I appreciate it so much for you guys checking in. Like and subscribe. Catch you guys next time.